Looking forward to ripping John Macri a new one Saturday.
That's right. Yeah, we'll get him on the pod, and you can air your grievances then.
Gonna be a good time. Gonna be a good time.
Good time for you, bad time for him.
Sure.
It's the IDP show, now you know.
Welcome to the IDP show. I'm your host, Josh Raymer, joined in the Sode Shack tonight. On my right, Adam Markham. On my left, Bobby Reynolds. We just wrapped up round one of the 2024 NFL Draft. Fellas, it was a pretty wild 4 hours watching some of these quarterbacks go off the board. Bobo's guy goes at 32. What the hell just happened, I think, is the appropriate question to be asking ourselves here at the conclusion of round number one.
Awesome night. Awesome night. I forgot my jersey.
You did. You missed the memo.
Let's get that
Yeah.
out the way.
I was going to say, Bobo and I got the memo, got the psychic memo to wear the jerseys.
Our teams all drafted IDPs.
The three edge
edge
rushers
rushers
that
we've
we've
been talking about.
nonstop since before the Super Bowl go to our three teams.
It's our year.
I think we deserved it. All the work we've been putting in, the football gods rewarded us.
We've done
with
it.
The
We've done
top
it, boys.
three edge rushers. Just a very weird thing to have happen.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there.
So, Bob, your 101 is Verse. Yours is Latu. And
Correct.
Mine is Turner.
That's right.
All right.
And I think it's appropriate after you and John Macri were going back and forth on the old Twitters about Dallas Turner.
That's right.
You were defending Dallas Turner's honor that he ends up a Minnesota Viking.
Yeah, it worked out very well. Looking forward to ripping John Macri a new one Saturday.
That's right. Yeah, we'll get him on the pod, and you can air your grievances
Gonna be
then.
a good time. Gonna be a good time.
Good time for you, bad time for him.
Sure.
So, Bobo, your head was spinning with all the possibilities here, thinking about our upcoming rookie drafts. What are we going to do? There's still maybe the back half of the first round, and especially in one QB rookie drafts to figure out, I feel like. But some questions got answered tonight.
Yeah, this is the weird, the time of the season, time of whatever you want to call this, right after the draft, where you start to think, do we go with our process? Do we go with the guys that we think are the most talented, or do we go with landing spot? It's going to be weird in some of these one QB leagues to see where people mix up Neighbors, Odunze, Brian Thomas, now Ricky Pearsall, now you got Xavier Leggett,
Xavier Worthy.
Kansas
City Chiefs.
Dear God.
When we get some running backs
Brock
in the
Bowers,
mix. Yep.
maybe falls. So, man, fun night for your Vikings. I think the Vikings probably
I think they won the night.
they stole the show for sure.
Yep.
2 trade-ups to go with J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner. How you feeling?
Feel really good. Yeah, I mean, I think there was a chance that McCarthy was going to get drafted before Minnesota picked at 11, and I thought there was a good chance Minnesota would take Dallas Turner if that was to happen. So to be able to get both of those guys, huge. You lose Kirk Cousins, you get McCarthy, you lose Hunter, you get Dallas Turner.
And you get 2 guys that you bring in free agency that takes the pressure off Dallas Turner.
A lot
Yeah.
cheaper than Kirk Cousins and
Oh yeah.
Daniil Hunter.
Oh yeah, I mean McCarthy's set up, and the best setup maybe of all the quarterbacks. Gets O'Connell,
Dude.
gets JJ to JJ.
Finally
then we
get a little
Addison,
Addison, little JJ help. That's what we were looking
TJ
for.
Hawkinson once he
he's-
recovers.
Yeah, once the knee's
So
healthy.
I mean, just an unreal situation there for McCarthy, and then same with Dallas Turner. I mean, Dallas Turner will get a chance to remember, guys. This guy is 21. He turned 21 in February, so he's probably going to take a little bit of time for to season and everything, but. He's in a perfect situation. Van Eagle's on a 2-year, $20 million deal. You got Jonathan Grenard there that he can grow with. But, yeah, I mean, I expect Dallas Turner probably to play like around 500, 600 snaps next season. But he'll be fully unleashed once he's a little more developed year 2, I think. But, yeah, I mean, this is a fantastic landing spot. Minnesota's got to be thrilled. I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I think you're right. I think the Vikings from a what they had to give up to get Turner was not a lot. A third and like a couple
to move
fifths,
up on
I think.
both those picks was just late picks.
Yeah, right.
I really
was
thought,
surprised.
I thought to get McCarthy, you were going to have to get in that like pick 5 to 6 range. But then when he kept falling, and all of a sudden Michael Penix comes off the board,
I know.
they had to feel like
To Atlanta.
yeah.
I know, of all places.
Sorry,
Atlanta
Weird.
had some serious needs. They could have definitely used a Dallas Turner.
Yeah.
That's where all the mocks had them
And
going.
if you want Penix, why not just trade back with a team like the Vikings?
Yeah.
Right.
That doesn't make a lot of sense. I think it was a bad night to be a Falcons fan.
Maybe Denver liked him as well. Maybe they were worried about that.
And they could have known that maybe, 6 quarterbacks in the top 12, so maybe they just knew that if
maybe they thought Minnesota liked him. You never
if we
know.
get outside the top 12, that guy's not going to be there.
Yeah.
But still, just trade back. Pick up a little bit of extra draft capital. The Vikes were originally at what, 11?
11.
Yeah, get to 11. You can still get your guy there.
Yeah. So it worked out good. It worked out great.
Did you see the Sean Payton, Patrick Mahomes crap tonight?
Boy,
that was kind of cringe.
That was really. Did he pay Schefter to make sure that tweet got out there right after the pick? Somehow some of these insiders are bought and paid for by the coaches and GMs. Is just kind of obvious at times like this, where it's like, what are we sitting this out here for, Shefty? Like, this just feels like a favor.
If Bo Nix doesn't work out, it's just gonna, I don't know. It's almost kind of nice that Atlanta picked Michael Penix, because then it's like, gosh, thank God.
Took the heat off of Bo Nix.
Now I've got a little
cover.
A little breathing room.
So, it was 14 picks of offense, 6 quarterbacks in the first 12 picks, 14 picks of offense, and then my Colts are up at 15 with their pick of the litter on the defensive side, and it started a run of 9 defensive players selected in the first round. So what we're going to do tonight is just kind of whiz through those, give you all our thoughts, and of course we will be breaking down best and worst landing spots from all 7 rounds of the NFL draft Saturday night with John Macri, so look forward to that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
John might not want to come on anymore.
No, maybe the other way around.
Yeah, that's right.
You may just
that Wi-Fi in Canada might be down for the weekend.
Yeah, that's
John,
right.
sorry, you're breaking up there, bud. Gonna have to let you go.
Josh
we'll
isn't
take this
feeling
one
well,
ourselves. But yes, Colts sit there with their pick of the litter. I thought it was going to be Quinyon Mitchell because I thought we had a bigger need on defense than edge rusher. But Chris Ballard likes Laiatu Latu, edge rusher, UCLA, makes him the first defensive player off the board at 15th overall. I was thinking if not Quinyon Mitchell, then maybe Dallas Turner. He goes 2 picks later to the Vikings. So if this is the one thing that I will say, I think Ballard has not had the best track record when it comes to trades. For every DeForest Buckner, we've had Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan. That tends to happen whenever you're trading or signing free agent quarterbacks every offseason since Luck retired. And I don't think he is as active as he should be in free agency. But what Chris Ballard does really well is he has that eye for talent when it comes to the NFL draft. I think his NFL draft track record is pretty strong. So if he looked at this defensive class and said, Latu is the best pick, and our biggest team need is defensive end edge rusher, then I trust that. So it would not have been my pick at 15. And I think you could probably make the case that he's 4th in the pecking order for clearest, easiest path to snaps in year 1. But there's no doubting that when you look at, especially do they pick up the 5th-year option with Kwity Paye, that there is a chance that it is Samson Ebukam and Laiatu Latu as soon as next season. So I don't hate the landing spot. I do think there is a little bit of competition ahead of him, but still really solid landing spot for Latu.
Yeah, I think so too. I actually think that he's probably their best edge rusher now.
I think so too.
So I imagine he's going to immediately come out the gate and give us a 600, 700 snap rookie season. He is ready to go. Remember, this guy is 23, 23 point something. So he's one of the older prospects in this edge class. But a lot of that was because of the medical stuff that he dealt with.
Yeah, they talked about during the draft he was planning to be a fireman before he unretired and came back to UCLA. So the medical stuff, with it being a neck injury, funny enough, cleared by the same doctor as Peyton Manning.
I saw that.
So it's kind of just a weird connection there.
The parallels between him and Jalen Phillips are very eerie.
Eerie.
Yeah, same situations. Both went to UCLA. Both were number 15. Both of them kind of look similar when you watch them.
Yep.
But yeah, I think he's awesome. He is. The PFF grades are amazing. All the PFF numbies are awesome. Pressure rate's ridiculous. Pass rush win rate's great. Yeah, I mean he looks like a can't miss prospect. I think that he's going to do really well there. Good situation. And I think it's him and DeForest Buckner as the two best edge rushers or best pass rushers immediately. So yeah, it's a good spot. Do you wish they would have gone a different route as a Colts fan?
I wish they would have gone cornerback. I thought that was a bigger need than edge, but
I know it is. I mean, they've invested a lot into the edge position lately. You know, they've gotten Kwity Paye, who was a first round pick.
Pick. Yep.
They brought in Samson Ebukam last year. They had Deo
Odengbo. They also had the
he was a second or third round pick too, wasn't he?
I think second round pick.
So they've invested a lot in the position.
They drafted a RAS freak last year. I'll have to look up who that was. I remember we were pretty high on him because
the guy from Northwestern, the AA.
Mm-hmm. I'll have to look up who that was. But they've spent a lot on edge. And of course you've got a really stout interior now. You bring back Grover Stewart. You have DeForest Buckner there as well that just re-upped. So it would not have been my first choice for position of need. I would have liked to have seen Quinyon Mitchell, then probably Brian Thomas Jr., and then probably edge. But again, I'm not mad about us going with a guy who was probably the biggest riser throughout this entire process, from maybe edge 3 in the class to the number 1 overall player. Quite the rise for Laiatu Latu throughout this process, Bobo.
Yeah, I hope that the draft pick here, I hope that the capital shows that people are okay with the medicals. You know, the medicals are actually not as big of a deal as maybe it once was. Thinking about Latu, automatically where my mind goes to is dynasty. You want Latu or you want George Karlaftis?
Probably Latu. And here's why I say that. I was talking through the pick with Dad and Connor because they were both kind of the same mind of like, would have liked to have seen cornerback or maybe wide receiver. And I was like, well, Latu's pretty good, right? According to, this was a tweet that came out from John, his edge prospect model scores. Latu was the number 1 in the class, and Latu was the 5th overall of the recent draft classes, behind only Nick Bosa, Chase Young, Myles Garrett, and Aiden Hutchinson, ahead of Will Anderson, Joey Bosa, Josh Allen, Leonard Floyd, Kayvon Thibodeau, Montez Sweat, all those guys.
Yeah, he's metric-wise, he's sick. No doubt about it. And then you watch him. I mean, he looks like a grown-ass man. He looks like a man amongst boys.
He looks like a dude.
Yeah, but he is.
He is a dude.
He's a grown man. It makes a big difference in college. I'm not trying to throw shade on him. I'm just trying to recognize it.
He's 23.
He's 23.
Yeah, he's older than some of these guys.
He's going against probably a lot of 19, 20-year-olds. You know, it's just it's the way it is. But he is awesome. That does give me a little bit concerned, though. You know, the fact that he is a little bit older. You talk about who do you want, him versus George Karlaftis. George Karlaftis is younger.
Really?
He's 23.1.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, and this will be his 3rd year in the league. So I mean, I think you got to think about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's
talking
nice
about.
to have guys that have been in the league and actually gotten reps against NFL offensive lines. Real quickly, it was Adetamua Anabaware that was the AA. They've got him listed as defensive tackle, so I don't know if that's actually any edge competition for Latu.
I probably would go Latu though, as far as him versus Karlaftis, because I think Latu has like the higher ceiling, right? He can probably he can probably give us like 15 sacks in a season potentially.
Right now, it's Karlaftis. If you want for 2024, I think Karlaftis. If you're looking for dynasty long-term outlook, I think Latu has the higher ceiling.
I'm just thinking like the guys that he's around as far as dynasty value right now. You got to think like
he's in that range.
Karlaftis. He's probably not quite yet to the Kayvon Thibodeau type range. You want him or Montez Sweat?
Yeah, it's a good one. I'll probably roll the dice on Latu.
Yeah, I think so too.
What about Alex Highsmith?
I'd probably go Latu.
Jalen Phillips.
Boy, we're coming off the Achilles. If there was no Achilles, it's not even a question.
I'm gonna go Latu.
That's hard. That's hard because I want to see. I don't know what Phillips is.
Your heart wants to say Phillips. Your head wants to say Latu.
Harold Landry.
Latu.
Jonathan Grenard.
Latu.
Just because Gary.
That's a good one because Gary was, under the radar.
Gary is
How old
also
is Gary? 26.4. I'm gonna go Rashawn Gary on that one.
That's close, but probably still Latu. I just think you have a 23-year-old
Colts fan
that has a chance to be a top. I mean,
I don't think he said
8
Latu.
edge rusher.
I think he said Latu the whole time.
I mean, that's where I would probably have him right now in Dynasty.
No, it's true. He's up there.
I do think this spells the end of Quiddy Pay.
So-
I really do.
Oh,
I think this is the end of
he
Quiddy
gone.
Pay and Indy.
We don't know quite yet everything as far as the end of the first. And
Quiddy broke.
Yeah.
you gonna give it some time to kind of simmer, or are
let's
you
just,
good? Move on. Okay.
Let that one sit there.
So we don't know the end of the first yet as far as one quarterback. We don't know second round, but let's just say you're hot on Latu, even some of these other guys. Where do you think it's going to be a comfortable spot to grab Latu in your rookie drafts?
He's probably still
One QB, right?
One QB. Are you getting any higher than like 206?
No, I think he's back of the second.
Because also it's like,
For any of them?
do you like? Well, I mean, do you have to now?
It's a good point.
It's like I think we made that point in one of those mocks. It's like I would. Has anything really clarified
All
for
the
you
guys
after this?
All the guys got pretty good landing spots.
Yeah.
I mean,
All
they went
4 of them.
between 115 and 120,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
15th and 20th pick.
So
So
some sick landing spots. Colts
Perfect landing spots.
Needed one.
All of them
Vikes needed one.
As
Rams,
much as I
even Miami with Chop Robinson.
honestly, you
Yeah.
could say the Rams landing spot maybe presents the most opportunity.
Yeah, I think so.
I think him and Chop, we'll get to it. But, yeah, I think, I mean, as much as I love Latu as a Colts fan and have the homer glasses on, my first pick in IDP in a rookie draft would be Dallas Turner. Just because he was my 101 going in,
Yeah.
and nothing has changed. These landing spots are all pretty good. They all got first-round draft capital.
Same.
So unless they just landed in a crappy spot with like a ton of guys ahead of them, this was probably not going to change the order much for me. Maybe guys move up a little bit. Maybe Chop gets bumped a little bit because, I mean, we'll talk about it. He could have the clearest path to snaps in year one. But let's show some love to the interior defensive line because right after the Colts pick at 15, Byron Murphy goes off the board at 16 overall to the Seattle Seahawks. I think this is a great pick for the Seahawks for NFL purposes. For IDP, though, Addy, not a huge fan of this one. A lot of competition there.
Right now, right? Yeah, but I mean, it's Jermont Jones, Jerron Reed. That's really his competition in the interior. And I'd say Jermont Jones will be.
You don't think Leonard Williams is competition there as
Forgot
well?
about him. Yes,
Yeah,
of course.
Re-upped,
he
big
is.
money.
He is, but Leonard Williams is going to be there, and yeah, whatever, that's fine. But Jermont Jones probably getting cut. I'd say after this year, they gave him a huge deal. I'd say that they can get out of that after this offseason. So it's going to be Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams. Also, Leonard Williams is getting up there in age. He's, 29, 30 now. So Byron Murphy, it's going to be his show, I'd say, within the next 3-4 years. But
You got to be patient.
he's an elite athlete, man. 9.21 RAS, 6 foot, 297, 4.87 40
At 300 pounds.
at 300 pounds. Yeah, 9.21 ARS. He was a 4-star recruit. And then, somewhat productive at Texas. Not that productive, but he had good advanced metrics, good pressure rate, good pass rush run rate.
And let's not miss the fact he was the second defensive player off the board.
Yeah, right.
I felt very confident he would be a first-round pick. Did not think he would go before Dallas Turner, some of the cornerbacks. I mean,
I thought he was
quite
being
the
slept
glow
on
up.
a little bit, honestly. I thought, maybe there was a chance Atlanta could have taken him at 8.
There was some buzz. He was like the first defensive player off the board bet. Byron Murphy was a sneaky good value, and you almost got it.
Almost, yeah, sure.
I didn't think there was any way the Colts were going offense at 15, and I didn't think there was any way they were going Byron Murphy there. So that kind of killed the buzz for him as the first defensive player, but it was close.
Yeah.
It was close to happening.
I like this fit, though. I mean, honestly, I'm not afraid of it. I mean, you gotta love the new head coach in there, defensive minded.
I just think you have to be
He's
patient.
got really good experience with, I mean, we just saw what happened with Justin Matabuke, So I mean,
Is this his Justin Matabike now?
could
Seattle.
could be.
Yeah, I mean, and you
Probably
got
not as explosive, but yeah, man, space eater. Just he's got some pretty sick stuff on tape.
there you go, Papa. What'd you think?
He'll be a good player there.
What'd you think of this landing spot?
It's okay.
It probably drops him in rookie drafts at least, right? Because you're looking at not going to be probably an impact guy in year one. And there could have been some spots where he was
I think he's
year one impact guy.
I don't think that
I'm pretty high on him.
I don't think that the guys there are anybody crazy. I mean, we do like Leonard Williams, but Adam's right. I mean, Draymond Jones could be cut.
He wasn't that good last year anyway.
I agree. Byron Murphy's kind of weird because everything instinctually and everything on tape looks like he should have put up more sacks at Texas than he did. Everybody wants to talk about, how he moves everybody around and how, the interior pressure is just elite. And maybe that changes in the NFL, but I just don't know that Byron Murphy is going to be a high sack type of guy. Do y'all get that vibe from him at all? I mean, he seems like he's going to be really helpful in the run game. He seems like he's going to get some pressure from the interior.
No, I mean, I hear you. I mean, only 8 sacks, 15 TFLs across 34 games at Texas.
Yeah.
But right, I mean, the pressure rate was good. Pass rush win rate is good. I get all that stuff, and a lot of people like to throw it at you, but it's like I still do want to see these guys produce.
100%.
I want to see what type of year they can put up potentially.
Yeah.
To know what I'm kind of investing in,
So, are you going to draft a guy like Byron Murphy in the XFL to just let him sit on your bench to see if it works out? He does have first round draft capital, so he's going to play. But is he going to be worth the gamble? Is he going to be worth the risk?
Is he this year's Jalen Carter?
No.
Landed in an ambiguous situation.
No, I think Jalen Carter was a much better player.
Yeah.
Defensive tackle.
I liked the way Jalen Carter moved much better.
100%.
Now, I think what this does open up potentially is Johnny Newton being the value here, right?
Yeah.
Maybe people overdraft Byron Murphy just based off the draft capital, right? And now you'll be able to potentially get Johnny Newton in the 5th round, potentially.
Yeah. Second
right?
defensive player off the board.
Yeah, undrafted potentially, and they're on waivers. I wanted to look. Yeah, Draymond Jones, Leonard Williams, Jerron Reed, Jonathan Hankins came over in free agency as well.
Sucks for Jerron Reed and Jermont Jones in the best balls, But other than that,
I mean, for what it's worth, which is not much, our lads already has Byron Murphy as the starter at nose tackle.
No, I think he'll get a healthy amount of snaps, but also, I mean, the surrounding situation is really, really good there. That's a ridiculous defense now.
Yeah.
With the secondary, we know all about it. We know about Witherspoon, Reek Wallen.
I think they still
Julian
address
Love.
Linebacker at probably 2nd and 3rd round.
Yeah, definitely. They could use a linebacker, but I mean,
Those seem
edge,
like
edge, they're
rentals.
sick. You got Uchenna Nwosu coming back.
Mafe.
Greatly missed
Darrell
him.
Taylor.
Mafe, Derek Hall. What can he look like in his second year? So I mean, that team is set up.
Even Jerome Baker has some pass rush upside to his game as well.
Yep.
It could be helpful, to have some interior presence with Byron Murphy.
Those
there.
linebackers will be fine there. They're not going to be asked to do a ton. That's a good front, good secondary.
They don't need an elite linebacker to be efficient there. They can still do what they need to with those guys.
Yep.
Oh, I think they're obviously not going to invest a high pick. They went Byron Murphy, but I think
they could get
maybe 2nd, 3rd round.
Yeah, I wonder where they're.
Because you got to remember Mike McDonald coming from Baltimore, having 2 of the best linebackers in the league.
I do know they brought in Peyton Wilson for the whole
I could
top
see
30
that
type visit or whatever.
2nd, 3rd, 2nd or 3rd round. So the Seahawks.
I don't think they have a second. It doesn't look like.
That's right. They traded it for Leonard Williams. So
wow,
that's right. Yeah, and makes me wonder. Then 3rd round, they're sitting at. Let's see where they are in the 3rd round. They have. Do they not have a 3rd round pick either? Okay, well, never mind. No, they're at 17. They're at 17 in the 3rd round. 81 overall. So I could see that being a potential Edgerrin Cooper, Peyton Wilson kind of landing spot.
I'm with Eddie. I like the Byron Murphy pick for the Seahawks. That's fine, but I think it could just be a nice little window to pay attention to Johnny Newton later in your draft.
Probably the 2nd best IDP available after Cooper DeJean. Still on the board?
Oh,
I think so.
Because I'm not so sure that I don't like Johnny Newton better than Byron Murphy, just straight up.
From like a ability to put up stats.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
From an IDP perspective, for sure.
And, and I've also I think I may just avoid linebacker.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And maybe going forward, just because it is like, we've talked about this a lot lately, but it is like there's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to try and figure out which one of, you know what I mean? It's just too hard. And they bust so much. I'm just going to probably stick to the edge rushers, especially in this class.
Yeah.
Edge rushers, defensive tackles, cornerbacks, and safeties.
We'll see what the no safeties went first round.
Yeah.
No linebackers went first round. It was just one interior defensive lineman.
Same with safeties. I'll probably just punch safety, truly. I'll probably just get whichever ones, are available on waivers, which there'll be a lot of good ones, I bet.
Yeah, you got 5 edge rushers, 1 IDL, and it looks like 3 cornerbacks. So, Eddie, I'll give you the solo cam for this next one because via trade, Vikings select Dallas Turner. They trade back up after trading up to get J.J. McCarthy. They trade back up again and select your edge one, Dallas Turner, at 17. How are you feeling about the newest member of the Minnesota Vikings?
Man, I feel so good. I love this guy. This was my IDP 101. I think he's got the most upside in the class. I've already touched on he is one of the youngest players in the class, 21.2 years of age, turned 21 in February. Athletic freak, 6'2", 247. That was at the combine. He put on another 10 in his pro day. But 34.4-inch arms, 83-inch wingspan, 4.46, 40.5-inch vert, 10.7 on the broad, 8.86 RAS score. Was a 3-year junior, 5-star recruit out of high school. And speaking of high school stuff, really cool background. Played with Pat Surtain and I think C.J. Henderson in high school. They were coached by Pat Surtain's dad. His senior year, he transferred schools and was coached by Jason Taylor. And Jason Taylor,
Wow. You mean the Hall of Famer?
Yeah, 7th on the all-time sacks list.
100-plus sacks, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think like 139. So he has that background in high school, goes to Alabama. Also, he was a basketball player. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. His dad was a professional basketball player.
The background's about as good as you can possibly get.
And also think about basketball.
Hoopers are always good at everything.
It's a one-on-one sport.
Yeah.
It's a lot of explosiveness,
quickness,
changing up speeds, jab stepping, spinning. Like it translates very well to the edge rusher position. So the background's great. That's all high school. Goes to freaking Alabama. You get Nick Saban, one of the greatest coaches of all time. I also thought he killed it on the broadcast line. I don't know if you guys got to hear him.
He was good.
Dropping tons of just great nugs.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Belichick both, I thought, had a nice little glow up.
Yeah, so, you just can't ask for much more. The combine, great. Background, great. Early production there at Alabama when he was an 18-year-old. Put up 8.5 sacks out the gate as an 18-year-old at Alabama. So, and I know that the PFF stuff wasn't as good as some of these other guys, Verse and Latu. I think his career pressure rate was 15.3%. Or if you look at like Verse and Latu, like they're like in the 18 to 20 range. But again, those guys are older prospects. Turner did it at 18, 19 years old. It just means a lot more. And if you look at his last year when Turner was a junior, the numbers were ridiculous. It was an 18.8% pressure rate. It was a 19% pass rush win rate. So not concerned at all. Like as he got better and better every single year. I think he's got a lot of room for development. I think he's going to put on weight. I think he's got the type of potential to be like a Will Anderson type asset. I really do. I think he's been slept on. We talked about that with Sig, but love this dude. And he's a Viking, man. It's just the best.
And we have to ask the question, though, Addy. How does this make you feel about Andrew Van Ginkel, your long-haired man crush from this offseason?
Still good. Still fine. He'll find a way to get 600, 700 snaps.
He's kind of back in the Dolphins situation where he's got two clearly superior guys ahead of him in Grenard and now Dallas Turner.
And
Grenard, he's the third banana.
Grenard's has health issues at times, so that could happen, But it's I think it's going to be a fun rotation. I don't think that they gave Van Ginkel a nice little deal, 2 years, $20 million. But
I think if everyone stays healthy, Dallas Turner, is he third in the pecking order?
I think so. Next year.
Yeah.
Again, we've talked a lot. 21 years of age. Yep. He's going to take a little bit of time. He's going to take a little bit of time to develop and stuff, acclimate to the NFL level. But I have no doubt that he's going to. I mean, this guy has, again, 5-star recruit out of high school. Like, what's really changed? What are people afraid of?
A lot. A lot, I would say. I just had a dark moment there. Had to come back to reality. But,
not life, just about
just
him.
a life. Okay, yeah. It's not the What's
I know
Scary
life
About Life
is
podcast.
terrifying.
Yeah. Baba, what'd you think about Dallas Turner landing in Minnesota?
Oh, it's perfect. I don't know that you could script it any better for Dallas Turner.
For Addy, for the show, for the Vikings.
It's a win.
It's a win, triple win.
And
everyone goes home happy.
I've been getting that vibe for a couple weeks now, too, of just like, are we sure that Will Anderson and, Dallas Turner are not a whole lot closer together than they are farther apart? I'm beginning to kind of have that feeling as well. So, yeah, I love that. I love the rotation up there. I love everything that Minnesota has done tonight for not only our Jefferson and Addison shares, but also for the defensive side as well. And for Ivan Pace. Ivan Pace, he really needs a good defensive line to play in front of him. For him to be that elite LB1 that we're all hoping for him to be one day in our dreams. This is what we needed to have happen.
So we'll keep the solo cam on you, Bobo, because the Rams at 19 don't go offense, which Peter Schrager thought was a lock to happen.
Mm-hmm.
They go with Jared Verse, the third edge off the board behind Latu and Turner. How are you feeling about Mr. Verse there at 19 for your Rammies?
The first pick for the Los Angeles Rams since 2016.
And they go with another Jared.
Which was made by Jeff Fisher.
Wow.
I didn't realize, I forgot about that, I guess
he played
I
1 year
that.
for Fisher, right?
1 year for Fisher, and then
it was McVay after
I
that.
wonder how many years he played for McVay before they traded him.
Maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah. Anyways, Jared Verse there, pick 19. I think that was in a lot of mocks. There's a lot of the Brugler and the Lance Zerline. I think maybe even DJ had Verse mocked to the Rams there. With the Aaron Donald retirement, it kind of changed a little bit. Some of the mocks were starting to show like Byron Murphy, Johnny Newton possibly, moving to LA. But no, I love Jared Verse. The more I think about Jared Verse and the more I've looked at some of his, college metrics at Florida State there, 29 and a half TFLs, basically in 2 seasons, 18 tackles over those 2 years. He also had 89 total tackles. Man, the production was really good for Jared Verse. I don't think Jared Verse has the quickest first step of the edges in this class. I think that's probably for, honestly, Dallas Turner. I think Dallas Turner is a little bit more athletic, but I think Jared Verse is stronger. I think he just kind of manhandles people and can throw them out of his way at times, and he sticks with plays. I listened to y'all's podcast last weekend with Sig, and Sig was kind of relating Jared Verse to like an Aiden Hutchinson, who just kind of wins with power and kind of with sheer will. And, a team that just lost Aaron Donald and really needs some help there with that defensive line. There's a gaping hole there now at D-tackle. I think Jared Verse is gonna help Byron Murphy and Kobe Turner also. That's another situation that I do a lot of times when you go to these drafts and you look and see like who else is this going to help? Obviously Byron Murphy, in my opinion, is going to help Uchenna and
Byron Young.
Boye Mafe. Yes. Byron Young now is going to massively be helped. I mean, Byron Young now goes to being the defensive line 2 on the team.
I'd say so. Yeah.
I mean,
Michael.
Yeah, you got
Still
Michael
there.
Hoyt there, but
Kind of hurts for him, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a little best ball hit, but I love it. I think we were talking about this a little bit before we turned the microphone on. That from an opportunity perspective, do you see Verse playing the most amount of snaps of the 3 his rookie
The
season?
3, yes. The 4, if you want to go out to
yeah.
Chop Robinson, I think Chop could end up with the most snaps, depending on your outlook for Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips.
Yeah, honestly, I think Verse is about to play. I mean, Byron Young just played 800 snaps,
Yeah,
I think,
oh,
and
yeah.
he played like 80%, a ton of snaps
Yep.
for a rookie,
Yep.
especially a third-round rookie. So, yeah, I mean, what Jared Verse is about to get all that.
Top 20 pick, Jared Verse, and a very interesting comp because this player actually played for the Rams from the Beast. Dante Fowler is Dane
Wow.
Brugler's comparison. So, yeah, he said NFL quality, hand use, physical traits, competitive football temperament give him a high floor as an NFL starter.
Yeah.
So I would expect, depending on if Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips, one or both of them, start the season, that knocks Chop down for me. But if and in that case, I would say Jared Verse would be the walk-away winner for most snaps as a rookie.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it was Byron Young getting as many snaps as he could possibly handle as a third-round pick.
Yeah.
So I think the team knew they needed to upgrade that position. They kind of punched above their weight last year with that draft class and needed to bring in some reinforcements.
Josh, you want Jared Verse or Daniil Hunter in Dynasty?
Oh, that's a good question.
I'm in Adam's ranks.
Boy, oh boy.
I've already got some of these guys in there. I'll have to do some more updating tonight, of course.
Probably Daniil Hunter,
Wow.
but it's close. I know
Okay.
the age, but I think Hunter could be good for a long time. Especially alongside a guy like Will Anderson playing for a coach like D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah, I do worry a little bit about Verse because, he does rely so much on that power. You wonder if he's going to be able to do that at the next level, right?
Especially if he's playing 800 snaps a season.
Yeah. Well, that's good for him. Volume's great for him.
Oh, I agree.
But I just wonder if he is, again, he's 23 and a half.
Yep.
So he was going up against some little boys, you know.
I love just picturing it's like the mascot games. The little kids are out there just getting bodied by these mascots.
But he did put up 31 on the bench, Jared Verse.
Yeah.
Which looks like 97th percentile.
Let's go.
So he's got some good functional strength. And getting in an NFL weight room, you'd think that should only get better.
Yep.
But yeah, it's for me, I have a hard time placing any of these rookies above guys that I consider to be in that elite tier of edge rusher, which is where I have Daniil Hunter. And I may
Okay.
be higher on him than consensus.
Okay, so Jared Verse or Bryce Huff?
Jared Verse. I think.
Probably Verse.
Jared Verse or Jermaine Johnson?
Oh, that's really close.
And the Jared Verse versus Bryce Huff question, I feel like that's like one where the market would be higher on Jared Verse, even though
100%.
I think hipsters would like Bryce Huff and stuff.
Yeah,
for the
sure.
most part,
Eric
he's a
Harms.
hard sell,
Yeah.
right? There's not a lot of people that are
Yeah.
super amped up about Bryce Huff.
Well, and the draft capital is gonna make him high.
Exactly. Bryce Huff was undrafted.
Absolutely.
Jared Verse just saw him on TV.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, but we did just see, Tyree Wilson on TV last year, and we
Yep.
didn't really see a whole lot of him last year.
Jermaine Johnson's a good one. That one's pretty close. I could flip a coin on that one.
Jermaine Johnson or Jared Verse. Jermaine Johnson's younger, I think.
And
Yeah, he's 25.3. No.
Okay, so no, he's not.
All
He's
right.
an older prospect too. That's right.
All right, so this one was one I feel like you kind of don't like this guy. So Jared Verse or Montez Sweat?
no, I like Montez just fine.
I don't think you do.
Probably Montez by a little bit.
Wow. I would have bet you would have gone Verse.
close.
He's
close.
a step down. I have probably 6 or 7 guys in that top tier of edge rusher for me, and Montez will be one step down.
I'll go back and forth on those two all offseason, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
It's close.
I just kind of want to find the
Would you have rather Chicago taken? Do you think Chicago should have taken an edge rusher, one of those elite edge rushers, or gone Rome?
I think an edge rusher.
I think offense. If I have a choice, I'm always going to go offense.
I don't know.
All other things
But
being
if they could
equal.
have had any other edge rushers, they would.
Dallas Turner, and then in the second round they could have grabbed a guy like
Troy Franklin,
AD
Keon
Mitchell.
Coleman, AD Mitchell.
yeah. But in the second round now, you're going to be going with Romo Dunze at 9, and now in the second round, if you want an edge guy, you're going to get like
Braswell, Trice.
Mo Kamara.
But you've
Kamara.
already got an edge
Nealon.
one, and now I think you have a wide receiver one.
But you have Keenan Allen and DJ,
DJ
Moore.
Yeah,
Moore.
I get it. I just
Cole
think
Kmet.
I think
Ellis
if
Jones.
DeAndre Swift.
I think if Rome hits
Velus Jones.
what was that last one?
Velus Jones.
Velus
There we
Jones.
go.
Oh yes. What was he, the really old one?
Speaking of age, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
I just think if Rome, from everything I've heard about Rome, if he hits his ceiling, that's a true alpha level wide receiver one.
Right, but
Whereas
if one of those edge rushers hits their ceilings, right?
I'm just saying, if both things are true, if both guys hit their full potential, I'd still rather have the offensive playmaker over the defensive playmaker.
You're going to have to outscore people because that defense ain't scoring. Ain't
Well, especially
stopping
attached to
nobody.
Caleb Williams. I want to give Caleb Williams as many weapons as I possibly can.
Because
Does he need it though? If he's good, he should transcend talent.
Yeah.
Just give.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of
Sure.
wish the Colts had done at
Sure.
15. With now Brian Thomas Jr. gets over to yet another division rival. And all they've done is just, every team in the AFC South has really amped up the offense this offseason. So I kind of, because it's like, I think Pittman's a nice 1B option. I would have loved to have a true like alpha difference making receiver come in there.
Yeah, same thing. Did you say you would have rather had the receiver or?
I think cornerback would have been my choice if I was the GM in that seat right there. Gone Quinyon Mitchell. I probably would have traded back, honestly. Yeah. Let somebody come up and take Mitchell or Dallas Turner or Brian Thomas Jr. a little bit later. But, offense would have been sweet too. It's hard to have your pick of the litter out on defense, though, and not go defense.
Yeah.
Especially when your defense is okay. Pretty solid, but could be better.
I feel like you guys were going Brock Bowers, though.
I know. That was every mock I saw in the
That's
lead up to
I feel like that was
Thursday.
such a tilt pick.
That's such a Ballard pick
Yes.
to go Bowers.
But then, that's like, oh, damn it.
I
Let's
know.
just go edge, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, damn it. It's like a panic pick almost.
I know. Seriously. I
Like,
really...
Ballard, we do have a solid stable, right, Ballard?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean... I
They're
think
calling
there was
Las Vegas tonight.
the only, and that's why I say,
We'll give you Anthony Richardson for him.
that's why I say cornerback, because that's really the only screaming need on the team is like our cornerbacks are not that great. Like I like Juju Brent's fine and Kenny Moore obviously, but opposite those two guys, it is just a big old question mark.
Dallas Flowers.
So yeah, I mean pretty much he is a starter I think at this point. So
Turn yards.
Love that.
not great from an NFL perspective.
Best ball, we're doing great.
When you've got the Titans bringing in Calvin Ridley and now Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabe Davis.
You scared of Calvin Ridley, Josh?
I mean, it's better than what the Titans
Calvin
had.
Ridley and Will
DeAndre
Levis.
Hopkins as your wide receiver one.
I traded Will Levis yesterday in Superflex. I
What'd you
shot
get?
that guy into space.
What'd you get him?
I got the 202. I got Travis Kelce, and I got Keenan Allen.
For Levis?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a super flex league?
I think I gave up some late picks or something.
You got
too.
any openings?
Can we get in this league?
Is this
But,
blunted? Is
I
this the room?
also-
Is this
no,
the
no,
league
no,
where
no.
everyone's high?
No. Shh, that's my. You can't talk about that one. That's the money league.
That's the secret dummy league.
I already had Stafford and Kyler, so Levis was just free money.
I got you. Yeah.
Free money.
All right, well, let's go to the next IDP off the board, the Dolphins with both Bradley Chubb.
You solo
and-
cam it because you seem to be the most in on this one.
I mean,
talk about it. It's your guy over there.
That trap years.
Yeah.
What- it's just you got two guys coming off like devastating injuries, and Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips, and then Shaq Barrett off the scrap heap to
Phillips
start.
he's gonna be just fine.
I hope so. He's on the freaking wall, but you're coming off a Thanksgiving Achilles injury. It's not a great outlook.
Yeah. I saw on his Instagram post he said he's gonna be back and better than ever.
Yeah, I would
I
hope.
believe him.
I hope so. I do hope so. But, I think this is definitely a hint towards like Jalen and Bradley Chubb insurance, where it's like, we don't know if these guys are going to be healthy. So let's grab the fourth edge off the board here in Chop Robinson. So, I mean, I'm just kind of whatever on Chop, but lands in a nice situation, especially if those two guys aren't healthy.
Chubb's getting cut next offseason.
It's a lot of money. Have you checked the dead money
pretty
for
sure,
Chubb?
I'm pretty sure they can get out of that.
I'll check. I'll double check the contract.
I mean,
see
because
what the dead money looks like.
this will be the.
They're going into
second?
second or third year of it.
I feel like they got a out coming out here pretty soon. I think I like it. I think Phillips is going to be fine, and maybe not this year, but I mean long term. Looking at 2025, yeah, I imagine it's going to be Chop and Jalen Phillips, and that's a pretty sick little duo right there.
do
Assuming
like it.
Phillips can kind of return to form. Sealer, right?
Yes, they have a potential out in 2025. The cap hit is $29 million for the next 3 seasons for Bradley Chubb. The dead cap is only $27 million, so they're just saving $2 million next year if they cut
wow.
Bradley Chubb. So it could be 2026 when it would be an $11 million cap savings.
Gosh.
That's tough. That's a tough situation to be in.
So you just cut him to save $2 million? I mean, he'll be 30 at that point. No, he'll be 29 at that point.
Aren't they tough
Probably
on
not.
cap?
Yeah, the Dolphins are always up against the cap.
Couldn't you also see Chop maybe playing like? I guess he's gonna play this year.
Yeah, he's going to play this year.
He's a youngin' too, though.
I don't.
He's one of the youngest guys. in
Even
the
if
class.
Jalen gets back, I mean, Bradley Chubb tore his ACL. It was ACL for Chubb, right? And Achilles for
Yes.
Jalen.
It was
He tore his
pretty-
ACL like week 17.
Wasn't it a lot for Chubb? Like, wasn't it pretty like? I think it was like a lot of stuff.
It was
in his
just
knee.
so late in the season, and he's an older player that I think even if you get Jalen back, I don't think you're getting both these guys back.
No.
And what does Jalen look like if he comes back?
Bradley
early?
Chubb tore it like week 17, right?
Yeah, it was late.
Pretty much the end of the season.
Yeah.
It was almost like this year.
That's tough, man. He had a great year, too.
Mm-hmm.
Hate to see it.
Yeah, so Chop was, I know.
Chop and Barrett, 2024.
I know, right?
Yeah, that's right. Barrett's there.
So
So
it's-
mention him.
Yeah, he's a.
That's crazy.
We knew he was a winner. I mean, I think maybe if Jalen gets back, is it Barrett and Phillips and Chop's kind of the third banana?
I think so. I think Chop's in a similar situation with Dallas. I think that those teams are going to be patient with both those guys. We'll see them, flash a little bit year one, but you're going to have to be a little patient. If you can't be patient on either one of these guys, Dallas and Chop, don't draft them, right?
Because you're probably going to have to wait.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there's a window for you to get back in on them in year two if someone gets a little skittish, but if you sell these guys after year one, you're
Yeah,
finished.
I'm not anticipating these guys that got drafted tonight to be.
I feel like Verse and Latu could easily come in and get 8 to 10 sacks year one.
Yeah.
Do you think they finish? I mean, top 24 at the edge position year one?
Probably
I'm
not
not
top
expecting
24, but I could see like a top 40 finish.
Yeah, for
Edge,
sure.
edge position is just very good.
It's very deep,
and
Yeah.
there's some elite assets at the top. So it's hard to crack the top 24.
Dynasty wise, I really like these guys. They all landed in good spots, but I think a good lesson just from rookie drafts in the past in general is don't get out over your skis with year one expectations for these guys, right? Like we're looking at the depth chart now, but remember, coaches like veterans. They like to start guys that have been in the system, that know how to be an NFL professional, know how to win at the next level. So it's not going to happen right away for most of these guys. Even a guy like Will Anderson came on really towards the end of the season, right? So if it is Dallas Turner is Will Anderson 2.0, I'm still not probably plugging him into lineups in September.
Right.
I'm going to wait and see what happens. I'm going to let these guys marinate a little
Yeah,
bit.
and these guys aren't going to, blow the doors off of the box score or anything, early like that. Like Will Anderson had a fine year, but I think he was like 7 to 8 sacks.
Yeah, it
nothing
wasn't
crazy.
You weren't like jumping up and down. Same thing with Aiden
But he's
Hutchinson.
21 and a half. It's
Yeah.
just that's part of it. Like these are investments, guys.
Yes.
You got to
Be patient.
probably wait 2 to 3 years before you really start seeing the potential and upside.
Yeah, because now you look at like Aiden Hutchinson, right? Like that's the kind of blueprint. Because Aiden wasn't great year one.
Right.
Year two,
Jalen Phillips was there. I mean,
Yeah.
that was we saw it, but he was it as well, right?
everyone was like, I don't know about, Phillips. I don't know if it's going to work
And
out.
he was averaging 17 and a half points per game until he tore his Achilles.
Yep.
So I mean, he was a top 10 edge rusher this past year.
I think he would have finished edge one
I think so as well.
had he stayed healthy. He was so good.
Yeah.
Bobo, any thoughts here on Chop in Miami?
I love it. I mean,
He went, I love it. That was not the reaction I thought was coming after,
Chop's a scary prospect.
he is. I was just looking at his production at Penn State, and it's just it's kind of like Byron Murphy. You want it to be a little bit more padded. You want to get those stats up a little bit more for us to feel more comfortable. Feel comfortable with Latu. I feel comfortable with Turner. I feel comfortable with Verse. Chop Robinson is the one head scratcher to where the production was strange, but the landing spot is great. So maybe that equalizes out a little bit. Odafe Elway really hasn't had a whole lot of help there in Baltimore. Obviously didn't come out of Penn State with a whole lot of production. Hasn't done much. So maybe a guy like Chop can be elevated because of the guys around him. I'm not sure. I need to marinate on Chop a little bit more.
PFF has the draft grade as average for this pick. They had him as their 40th player on the big board. So makes me wonder, too, every team's board is different. This is not to say that the Dolphins had Chop Robinson as the 40th overall player, but that's about where Chop felt like a borderline round 2, round 1 kind of guy. So that kind of is maybe a peek inside the Dolphins decision makers' mindset of like, we really need to get a premier edge rusher because either we're planning for life after Bradley Chubb or we're not sure either of these guys are going to be ready to start the season. So he did say he has the dimensions of power and speed in his pass rush arsenal. His potential is undeniable. He earned a 93.9 pass rush grade over the past 2 seasons, which ranks second among FBS edge defenders behind the Colts' Laiatu Latu.
But why no sacks? Come on, Chop.
Yeah.
That's we know the rule.
Good pressure rate, though. We know all about that stuff. Good pressure rate. Usually pressure rate means sacks are going to come. Pass rush win rate was great, 20.9% pass rush win rate. So that was great. I mean, compare it to like Turner. Turner was 20.2 his final year.
What was the RES for Chop? Do we have that?
Yes, Chop was the best athlete of the bunch.
I remember him being a freaky athlete.
9.72 RES. He was 6'2.5", 254, 4.48 40. That's 1.53 10 split.
Boy.
So that was one of the best 10 splits of the bunch. I think that was the best among the edge rushers.
Mm-hmm. The Underdog Football Show was doing the top 64 prospects in this draft, so it was fun to listen to him talk about defense. And Josh Norris said, and I was nodding along, I was like, yes, Josh, you understand. Like he said, to be an elite edge rusher, you have to be, by and large, a freaky athlete. Mm-hmm. And this is when they were talking about Chop Robinson. Like, the production wasn't really there, but he has what you need, the most important thing that you need to be an elite edge rusher, which is freaky athleticism. So we'll see how it turns out with Chop in Miami. But
I mean, look at literally all the elite edge rushers that we know and love. Nick Bosa, 9.39 RAS. Micah Parsons, 9.62. Aiden Hutchinson, 9.89. Max Crosby, 9.6. TJ Watt, 9.79. Myles Garrett, 9.99. Josh Allen, 9.72. Brian Burns, 9.90. Kayvon, 9.64. Daniil Hunter, 9.91. Jared Verse, 9.6. Dallas Turner, 8.85. George Karlaftis, 9.27. Montez Sweat, 9.92. Just going straight down the list.
Yeah. I mean, you could basically...
Dallas Turner may be a big old bust.
Sort by...
now that I'm thinking about it.
Sort by RAS, and it's pretty much all the top edge rushers. Yeah. I did find...
Only 8. Yeah. He also did not do a 3-cone, did not do a shuttle. So he got the 40 and got the F out of there.
No time for all that transportation stuff.
I will say the comps from DJ when the picks happened were interesting, that he comped Laiatu Latu to Trey Hendrickson, who requested a trade today. Also said he was considering retirement, which I don't feel like helps your trade leverage if you're like, I may actually quit. I may actually retire.
Did you see the T. Higgins stuff that said they haven't had contract talks in over a year?
In over a year.
What?
That's weird.
How's that true?
The Bengals are weird. They're a mom and pop organization that's traditionally been very stingy with money and not done well on player relationships for that reason. But that seems extreme even by that measure. And then I think it was Latu, or no, I think it was Jared Verse. It was either Turner or Verse, and I feel like it was Verse they comped to Brian Burns. That DJ comped to Brian Burns.
I think that was Turner, actually.
That's what I figured. I thought it was right after the Latu pick.
I think it was Turner.
So just fun to see kind of those comps, because I think DJ is one of the top draft guys out there.
And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, Brian Burns isn't the biggest dude, right? But he is like a speed type guy. Mm-hmm. Reminds you of like a little bit of a basketball player. Crosses up these big, beefy old linemen.
Big old beef boys.
That's what Turner's going to be doing.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So those were the top 4 edge rushers gone in the first 21 picks. After that, we had a run of cornerbacks and one final edge rusher. So, boys, let's just kind of hit the cornerbacks as a group because I feel like they're all going to get pretty similar opportunity. So the Eagles stay at 22 and go with the first cornerback off the board, Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo. The Lions trade up to 24. I think they jumped into the Cowboys spot, I believe it was, and selected Terrion Arnold, Alabama. And then we saw the Ravens sit at 30 and take Nate Wiggins, Clemson. So we get 3 cornerbacks in the first round. Eddie, talking to Sig, he mentioned Terrion Arnold as the player he thought was going to have the most impact in year 1. And now landing with a Lions team that was still cornerback needy, even with Brian Branch, even with Carlton Davis. And they trade up to get this guy taking, I think, the spot of the Cowboys. Tells me maybe Terrion Arnold is a guy that we should be paying attention to. Quinyon Mitchell, nice landing spot with the Eagles as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think Terrion Arnold may be in contention for cornerback 1 just because he is such a really good tackler. 4.32 tackles per game. That was the best rate among the corners in the class, I believe. And then, Alabama. Also freak athlete, 9.27 RAS, was a 4-star recruit.
Eagles going to draft them some Alabama players. You best believe that.
Oh, this
SEC.
is Detroit.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking of, yes.
Quinyon Mitchell, I think, is out of Toledo.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, but he's also like another one of these freak athletes.
It was, Brian Branch, Detroit. I mean, right? Detroit did the same thing.
Right, exactly.
There are some teams that just love these blue blood SEC powerhouse programs.
Yeah. Yeah, I love what Detroit's doing. Just those physical type cornerbacks. I mean, it fits what they want to be as a team. Yeah, good stuff there from Detroit. We need to get them an edge rusher. Or maybe a defensive tackle.
When they traded back up, I was like, well, I guess this is an edge because the top 4 guys are gone.
Yeah, right.
So
I
it's
know
kind of
they
a
missed
bummer.
out on one of those guys. Maybe they could have gone Johnny Newton there, but I mean, I think that's really, really good value for Arnold. I think a lot of people were talking about him as being like a top 15 pick.
Yep. Get him
So
at 24.
That's a great job right there by them.
And then the
And
Eagles.
it's in the draft's in Detroit. It's a good night there.
Yeah, it was a good night. He takes the microphone from the interviewer there on the stage and is like turning around talking to the audience. So.
Terrion Arnold, he was funny too. Did
Yeah.
you see the part where he was like, "Say what's up" to Nick Saban?
I didn't see that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was
That's funny. I saw Detroit had 275,000 people at the draft tonight.
yeah, it's crazy.
That's kind of
isn't it?
nuts to
That's
think
nuts.
about.
That is nuts.
Not a place I want to be if I got 274,999 other people around me.
Too many people.
Too many people.
That says give me anxiety right now.
275 people is probably
That's
too
way
many
too many
people. But they did break.
2.75 is too many people.
Yes, they did break. That's more than it's in this room, Adam.
I'm very anxious right now.
I know, I could tell. They did break the record for night 1 attendance. Nashville still holds the record for overall draft attendance at 600,000.
There's just a lot of people in downtown Nashville. That's all that is.
Yeah, that's a Saturday night.
They latched on to all the bachelorette parties.
That's just
Yeah.
Broadway, baby.
Them
That's
damn
right.
pedal bars.
Oh, the pedal carts.
Gosh.
They're the worst.
Y'all
favorite-
love Broadway.
I love
Downtown
seeing
Nashville?
I love seeing the bridesmaids blacked out in the gutter, just with their little
Yeah.
sashes and stuff all smudged up and dirty.
It's my favorite.
It's a great spot
It is. It's
to
like,
observe human behavior.
Yeah, it's like the bridal party USA.
Pretty much, yeah.
How do you insure one of those little pedal bars?
You don't.
Yeah.
That's just that's outside the law.
Proof of insurance, license, registration, please.
You're like, nope, and they're like, yep, you're right. See you later. Just keep on keeping on.
Come on, girls. I gotta get away from this car.
It's not a spot I want to be at almost 37 years old.
Gosh,
But-
didn't that bomb blow up down there in that camper a couple years ago?
Yes, on Christmas
yeah.
Day. That's still
on Christmas Day.
still dealing with the aftermath. It's still not fully repaired.
What's
Crazy.
not?
The area where it blew up.
Unsolved mystery.
Yeah. Unsolved mystery. Do they
Yeah.
not know who did it?
Nope.
That's weird. I don't like it. Unsolved mystery. Why did the Cardinals go with Darius Robinson at 27? The last IDP we're going to touch on here. We mentioned Johnny Newton's still out there, good value. Cooper DeJean as well. Marshawn Nealon was getting some first-round buzz, did not creep into the first round. Darius Robinson was a surprise, though, Addy. I was not expecting this guy to go first round, and here he goes at 27 to the Cardinals.
I don't know. I think that he had a chance. I think we talked about there's tons of mocks where he was getting drafted there at the end of the first round. Versatile player, can do a lot of different things. He is a bigger. I think they have him listed as edge in all the draft stuff, but he
They
is.
announced him as a D tackle and then put his little thing as edge. So I think even they were confused on what he was.
He's a bit of in between, right? He's
Yeah.
285, so that is very large for an edge rusher, but it's also a little on the small size for a defensive tackle. So I think he'll be able to do a lot of things for Arizona, be a nice versatile piece for them. He is a freak athlete. I think Dane Brugler was saying that this is one of the first off the bus guys, just super, imposing, powerful looking dude. Let me look at his RAS real fast.
Do you not think, though, he would have been available 8 picks later at 35 when the Cardinals are picking?
Maybe so.
I don't know. It just seemed like
7.77 RAS. He's
little bit of a
6'5",
reach.
285, 34.5-inch arms, 84.5-inch wingspan. Good God.
yeah, he's humongous. But
Oh my gosh.
could you not have used maybe a cornerback or a DB there?
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing
Or
with
anything.
Arizona. I mean, they are all the above. They needed everything.
Yeah, I was looking to see. Am I forgetting some corners?
Linebacker.
It is Sean Murphy Bunting, Kytrell Clark, Starling Thomas V. I'm not making that up. Divaad, Divaad Wilson.
Yeah.
So yeah, I probably would have gone cornerback there.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just me.
They could have probably gone DeJean.
They could have gone with Johnny Newton if you want kind of beef up front.
Man, Robinson could be good. I mean, he's got a lot of fans. I mean, I don't want to throw too much shade at him. I do see the upside.
He got better at Missouri. You know, he got progressively a little bit better, played a little bit more.
Gonna have the opportunity for sure.
Oh, dude, maybe more than any of the
honestly
IDPs drafted.
Did anyone land in a better situation than Arizona?
You're like, bro, you've got to get out there. We've got you, and we've got
Zaven Collins, this guy that was a linebacker
BJ
his entire career. He's your other edge rusher.
LJ Collier. I mean,
LJ Collier still in the league.
Wherever they want to stick him. I mean, you could
inside, outside.
Bilal Nichols, Justin Jones,
free safety.
Dante Stills. I mean,
man.
that line is terrible. So it's like I think it probably was a reach. I would not have gone with him there at 27, but God, he's probably going to start. Because that team is bad. You got Jonathan Gannon, who's a goober, but pretty good defensive coach.
He wants killers.
He does.
Might be a killer.
He wants to know who's riding the bus. Darius Robinson's getting off the bus.
Sure,
so
first.
We know he rode the bus because he's first off the bus.
Was he the one that met the player and was talking about like fireworks?
Yeah.
What gets you?
Rondell Moore.
Was that who it was?
Yeah, it was Rondell Moore. Explosives. Pew, pew, pew.
You love that probably, like super cringe.
Oh my God, yeah, I watched it like
he watched it on repeat.
Yeah, I've got it bookmarked.
Yeah, it's
but yeah, you're right. There's
one bookmark on Twitter, and it's that video.
The Darius Robinson pick was strange for sure, but I mean, Adam's right.
You're in that range.
Some of those weird late mocks.
There's always some head scratchers at the end of the first.
That's what this draft was, man. That's what this draft was. Is we knew there was like a couple good edges, and then after that, there was going to be quite the cliff. And I feel like it's going to be about that way from here on out. So here's a good question. Aside from the linebackers, maybe Peyton, maybe Cooper, maybe Colson, potentially like Cedric Gray gets some draft capital.
Trevin Wallace.
You got Cooper DeJean. Let's just say maybe Cole Bishop, one or two, Caden.
Get you noob.
Yeah.
Kalen Bullock.
My boy Nubin. All right, so aside from those guys mentioned, and also Johnny Newton, we're probably not drafting any other IDPs.
I'm not.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even these guys, like, even the Darius Robinson point to like...
Well, what if they get second round capital, 100%.
I agree, but I'm just saying, like, even of the guys that we've talked about tonight, like, Chop to Miami, to me, screams like 401.
Yeah, fourth round.
406.
Yeah.
Cooper DeJean's probably, I mean, does he get bumped down in rookie drafts now? Is he a little bit of a loser? Getting second round capital?
I don't know if it was necessarily much of a loser as much of it was like, I don't know. I think the teams at the end of the first round where maybe we could see him going had a different type of need.
I was salivating thinking about him with the Ravens. That would have been sick just to watch him and Kyle Hamilton patrol the field together.
But I mean, if Cooper DeJean goes within the first 10 picks tomorrow, day two,
Bills,
he's fine. He's
Patriots,
right back into now,
Cardinals, Commanders.
I do think he's a fourth round pick, right? We were talking like he was going to be a third round pick. So now I think he probably
bumped down a little bit.
He's entered into the 401 to 406 range now.
The second round tomorrow is going to tell a lot about who we're going to draft in 5 rounds of a one
especially
QB
on the
IDP,
especially on the IDP side of things.
Who are you drafting in the second round of a 1 QB right now, IDP wise?
Probably the running backs.
Dallas Turner.
IDP wise, yeah.
Sorry.
Dallas Turner. Are you drafting Verse?
It's going to depend on some of the offense. If we don't see running backs taken high tomorrow, if they're like third and fourth round running backs, then that's going to push them down.
There'll be 1 or 2.
There will be 1 or 2.
Now, who would I take in the second round? Probably just Dallas Turner. Who will go in the second round? Probably on average.
I think Verse. I think people
Oh,
will still
Verse
take.
and
I think
Latu are
the
both
top 3
going.
edges, I think, will
I
go
think
in
from
the second
206
round.
to 212, all 3 of those guys are going to be in play there. Some of the drafts you see, one or two of them will go, but a majority of them, I think all three of them are going to be
still,
gone there.
no one creeping up really higher than that, right?
Does Dallas Turner get higher than 206 on average in one QB rookie drafts?
What if he should?
I think he should.
Yeah.
I think he should. But
I don't know.
I don't know that you have to, right?
I don't know that he's going to get ever into the first round for me.
I don't think so.
I just don't think you have to.
If
Not
so-
in this draft.
If some of these wide receivers don't really pan out, if some of these running backs don't really pan out from a landing spot perspective over the next like 2 rounds, I could see Dallas Turner maybe being like 203, 202.
Yep.
You know, because I expect the end of the first to still be like Trey Benson, McConkey,
Jonathan Brooks,
AD Mitchell, Jonathan. Well, I think that's high for Brooks. Maybe.
A lot of people have Brooks
Latu's
as
going to be up
RB1.
there though, y'all. Latu's going to be right in there. Like it's going to be the same way. It's going to be the same way. People are going to have like their preferences with these edge rushers.
Yeah, a lot of it's a divisional type of thing too. Like, do you watch a bunch of, NFC West ball? You're probably going to be really in tune to Jared Verse. Like, I don't know. I just find that a lot. That like,
well, I think I think there will be a lot of leagues where you can get Dallas Turner like 301 in a certain league, right?
Yep.
He'll be the third edge rusher off the board just because of all the stuff we've, the flags that we mentioned.
This is assuming true position, right? Because if there's linebacker listings for these guys, it's just that's so dumb.
I always assume
it's
normal
fixed.
stuff.
Yeah. Assume that this is correct positional designations.
You think any of these guys get dual on Sleeper? You think maybe Dallas Turner gets
That's
dual?
so hard to predict.
Turner should.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, Van Ginkel has it.
Yep.
And doesn't Grenard have it now?
Well,
yeah, he does.
Who had it last year? Did either of the
Hunter had it.
Yep.
Did
I don't think that Wanham had it as well.
Wanham did?
Yeah.
And who was the other one? Davenport.
Zadarius Smith had it the year before.
Okay, so
That's
yeah,
right.
probably will.
So
then.
Turner will get it on Sleeper. Jared Verse. Did Byron Young have it
Byron
last
Young?
year?
Yes, he does.
And Latu will not get it.
I don't think Quiddy or Sampson had.
Ebicam did, I think.
Did he?
Ebicam did have it
Then
last
why
year.
would Quiddy Payne not have it?
Because they don't know what they're doing.
I know. It's just so random. There's no common sense whatsoever applied to this.
That plays for me. That dual Desi plays.
I was thinking it's kind of
Sleeper's the shit.
it's kind of weird though, right? Because like
It's annoying. I wish they would just make
Yeah.
them all defensive linemen.
right.
But I love the flexibility of Sleeper, man. Just make your roster requirements deep. Start 4 to 5 defensive linemen.
That's fun in those picks though, because like all of a sudden you see a guy who, you don't necessarily value as much as somebody else, but you know that Eric Harms is drafting him because he's got dual Desi. In like the 3rd or 4th round or something. I think that's a big thing that gets talked about some in the best balls, but probably not enough.
Yeah.
what would
It
be
can be a distraction too, though. I
sure.
think some people look too much into the dual Desi stuff and they let some
away
of these-
from all the
and then you let some of these defensive
I
tackles.
use
slip
it as
through.
like a tiebreaker type of thing, right? If I'm between two guys,
I really don't. I honestly don't look at it at all.
I mean, it is just sort of I guess, cheat code is the best way to describe it because you're filling 2 spots in your lineup instead of 1. So that is nice, especially like war of attrition type of stuff. You lose players throughout the season.
But you're right. Don't look at it so much that you're also not looking at the D tackles.
Yep.
The guys who just have defensive line.
Yep.
I was going to say, looking at the teams drafting inside the top 10, because I think Newton and Cooper DeJean both will go in the top 10 of the second round. That just kind of, it feels like they could have been first rounders.
What if they don't, though? Let's say they don't.
Well, I'm just thinking, let's look at real quick the top 10 teams inside the second round, assuming no trades, where we would like them to land. I think the Bills are going wide receiver. Patriots, no thank you.
Wide receiver.
Patriots would love Cooper DeJean, though, wouldn't they?
They would.
It seems like a...
But they also have Kyle Duggar, Marte Mapu,
no, we'd hate
Jabril
it.
Peppers.
We would hate it. It would ruin them.
It would ruin them. I would hate it. I don't see it.
Cardinals would be beautiful.
Cardinals would be great for either of those guys. Commanders, I don't think they're going with the defensive tackle with Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen still there. You've got Jeremy Chin, so I don't know that they're going to.
Chin's on a 1-year deal, though. I mean, it's not enough to prevent them from going to
Agreed.
So I mean,
I'm just saying,
It's kind of a need.
The
He's in play.
Juiciest landing spot. It kind of 2 exercises here, like where could we see it, but also where do we want them to go? Chargers next to Derwin. That would be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Titans, I don't know. Nothing about the Titans really excites me.
They got too many corners for. I mean,
a bunch of those types.
Yeah, we don't need another.
Panthers could be kind of fun because they lost Von Bell, they lost Jeremy Chin. So if they're going to have
time would be
safety, it's J.C. Horn there. I think C.J. Henderson is gone. So again, the Commanders back up at the 8th pick of the second round. Packers are still in play there at the 9th pick, 41 overall, and then Texans at 42, 10th overall. So, but yeah, if they don't get top 40 or so capital,
a lot of scary landing spots in there.
That's not great, and there are some bad landing spots in there.
Yeah, like Green Bay would I think it'd be good, but it would suck for Keyshawn Nixon.
I was gonna say
we don't like that.
Yep.
I'm okay with Washington. Carolina's good as well. Tennessee's got way too many corners. Arizona would be good. New England, nope.
The Texans kind of need some secondary help. Like I think that's the position on their roster you could point to and say, you got Derek Stingley, you got Jalen Petre. Let's get who'd they bring back that was a Desmond King.
Desmond King.
But you could really use, I think, a playmaker in the back half of your secondary.
And then Atlanta's after them. They could use DeJean or Newton.
Raiders need help on defense.
Saints as well. Well, Saints are pretty good at corner, but they could use somebody in the interior. They put them next to Brian Bresee.
Mm-hmm.
Colts. There you go, dude. What if you get DeJean and you get that would be sick.
That would be
Colts
so
need to
filthy.
be trading up.
Yes,
get
they
up
really
into
do.
the top of the second. Get DeJean.
If you can get up into maybe like the late 30s, I think you've got a shot. But oh man,
46. So I mean, that's just it could happen.
You could get up to, could you get up to like one of those Washington picks? Could you get up to 36 or 40 and get Cooper DeJean?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's we'll see. By the time you are listening to this, it may have already been decided where DeJean's going, but
we will be potting with Macri Saturday night.
That's right. Best and worst landing spots.
So you can hear us talk about all this stuff that we're speculating on now.
All over again. We probably won't touch on as much first round guys on that episode. It'll be more.
We will. We'll talk about a lot of Dallas. It'll be more Dallas Turner about
first round. Be an all out Dallas Turner war. Bobby and I will take the first half of the episode off and come in after you guys are done.
Sure.
But we will be touching on all 7 rounds. So best and worst landing spots. Like we said, look forward to having John on. But that is your round 1 recap. It was a wild draft. Don't think we'll ever see 14 straight picks of offense again.
That was kind of boring.
Don't know that we'll see 6 quarterbacks go in the top 12 again.
I feel like we had to throw the offensive folks a bone. We have been dominating the drafts the last little bit, right? Call. It's an IDP world, folks.
Only 9 of 32 picks were defense tonight. That's kind of surprising.
But we did dominate the second half. They had us in the first half.
Not going to lie. They did have us.
We did dominate the second half.
Yeah, all of these picks, 15 was the first defensive guy. So basically the back half, the back 16, we had, I think, either exactly the same number of offensive and defensive picks or one more defensive pick.
We showed out, I think.
So,
one more.
Don't let this discourage you, folks. Remember, this is a good class. There's a lot of really good offensive pieces.
The offensive class was very strong.
It's going to push a lot of these offensive guys down the board. That's what we saw tonight. I mean, I think there's still really nice assets that you want on your fantasy football teams.
1, 2, 3,
4. How many wide receivers went? 8? Pearsall, Leggett.
You had 3 in the top 10, and then you had, so that's 3. You had Brian Thomas was 4.
Ricky Pearsall.
5.
Leggett.
6.
I'm missing somebody.
Worthy. 7.
That's it.
Is that it?
7.
Okay, so 7 wide receivers. Yeah, I saw a tweet from Schrager earlier in the week that was like, there are really only 6 locked and loaded, guaranteed first-round defensive players. Mm-hmm. He said this offensive class is just so good, and the defensive class is not as strong by comparison that you could see an offensive-dominated first round. And I think I just saw where Schrager got 29 of his 32 mock draft picks correct for first-round players making it in. I think he had 13 direct hits, and then he called 29 of the 32 first-rounders. So it played out that way, man. It was an offensive-dominated draft, a quarterback-dominated draft. Good news is we will see a lot of defensive players called on Friday and Saturday because we saw no linebackers, no safeties, only 3 cornerbacks, and 1 IDL.
Peyton and Edgerrin go tomorrow?
I would think so.
In the second, I mean?
No, I think we'll see Junior Colson maybe go first.
Think so?
I think
I have no idea,
Newton,
honestly.
Colson, and DeJean, I feel very confident will go.
It's funny, on
tomorrow.
Like DJ's big board, he has Cooper first as
does.
the linebacker off the board.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Everybody's
We
People
shall
been rising on Trevor Wallace, too,
Yeah,
lately, I've
yeah.
been seeing. So
Does he get second or third round capital?
we shall see.
We'll be talking about it on Saturday.
Best time of the year.
Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed over at theidpshow.com. The IDP Show draft kit drops on May 1st. All of Mike Wollert's projections will be out. The rookie rankings will be updated. We'll have write-ups in there. All of our ranking sets will be updated. I know Addie's already working in the Dynasty ranks, so make sure you're checking us out over there. This is our time of year. You want to be in lockstep with us if you want to dominate your IDP drafts. I think we still got some best ball drafts that are going to be getting underway here soon. You probably will have some openings here soon if you don't already.
We got
Addie.
rookies about to be added.
That's right.
It's about to be fun, ladies and
About to be
gents.
popping off.
So come holler at us. Yeah, I mean, best in the game. No one's touching us.
Come hop in the drafts. We'll be back with Macri on Saturday. But until then, y'all take care and enjoy the draft.
It's the IDP show. Now you know.